And the world's leader in motorsports coverage is at Portland International Raceway for the Trendwest Resorts 100 for the NASCAR REB-CO Northwest Tour Series. It's a beautiful day, and Mount Hood is in the background. This is Portland International Raceway, where the Indy cars will run tomorrow. But today, we have stock car racing for you here on ESPN. Hi, everyone. I'm Bob Jenkins, and we have a first for you today. It's the first time we've ever televised a race in this particular division, the REB-CO Northwest Tour for NASCARs. This is the top stock car division in the Pacific Northwest. They run 17 races during the year. This is the 10th of their series. It's actually a stepping stone series. From here, you probably go to Winston West, and then, of course, to Winston Cup. This race has attracted many drivers from the Northwest Tour, also from the Southwest Tour, and we even have a couple of Winston Cup drivers who have come all the way out here to compete in this event. And for more on that, let's go to the pits, and here is Gary Gerould.
Bob, you're absolutely right. You look at the color scheme, it's very familiar. You look at the number 6, it's very familiar. But this is a 2,900-pound race car, not a 3,400-pound Winston Cup car. But then look down here. Yeah, that's a familiar eyes. Mark Martin is here in the Northwest at Portland. Mark, you're in a brand new or a strange race car to you. Does that put you at any disadvantage whatsoever?
Well, I don't know. You know, I just want to make sure I thank all the guys that put this car together. I really believe that this is the best race car in the field if I just don't mess it up. Now, Lance Hooper over here has been faster than me ever since we've, been here. And I don't know what I'm going to do with him, but I've got an awesome race car, and I'm real thankful for it. I want to thank Valvoline and Cummins for having me out here, and this Portland racetrack is beautiful. It's going to be a lot of fun.
We're looking forward to it. Have a good, safe day.
Thank you.
Mark Martin starts here in the front row. Let's check in with Jan Beekes.
Hey, Gary, there's another familiar paint job that we've seen before in Winston Cup, and another face that we've seen on the Winston Cup circuit, and that's of Dale Jarrett. And Dale, you're back in 16th spot. I know you wanted to qualify better than that. Does this car have what it takes to get you up front?
Well, Jan, I hope so. We got it driving a lot better yesterday. We had a problem qualifying with the engine. A lifter stuck, and so that caused us some problems. Hopefully we've got it fixed, and we'll have a little fun, see if we can get up there and join Mark at the front.
Now, what is your reasoning being here? I know it's big for your sponsors, but is this good practice for you for a road circuit?
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to run as many road courses as I can, and certainly for Texaco and Haviland to help me out to come out here. So we're having a lot of fun, and hopefully we can win.
Dale Jarrett's going to have a lot of fun, but he also has a lot of fans here at Portland. Bob?
We have attracted another NASCAR Winston Cup driver to Portland. He's not on the racetrack. He'll be with me here in the booth today. He's a driver of the number 77 Jasper Transmission U.S. Air Ford in the Winston Cup Series. Bobby Hillen, good to have you here. Bobby, what do you think about this event? What kind of a race is it going to be?
I tell you, Bob, this is going to be one exciting race. You've got 37 drivers, and half of them have never been on a road course. Most of them on little quarter-mile 3/8 racetracks. And, 37 of these guys come barreling down this front straightaway into this festival chicane. And I tell you, there's going to be a festival, but I don't know how happy it's going to be with these guys.
37 cars, and these festival corners are so tight that everybody's got to get in single line, and it is going to be interesting.
It really is. The corners really, it's a chicane. It's there for safety to slow the guys down going on into the next corner, and you really got to slow down. And I think that a lot of these guys are going to pull out, try to pass into this corner, and it's going to be exciting.
Well, we talked about the NASCAR Winston Cup drivers that are here. We've attracted some from the Southwest. As a matter of fact, a driver from the Southwest Tour is on the pole. Here's more from Gary Gerould.
He's alongside Mark Martin in a colorful Pontiac. You heard Mark reference Lance Hooper. He stole the show yesterday in qualifying by a mere 0.09 of a second. He comes from the Southwest Tour. He's won twice this year. This will be the 4th road racing event of his career. This team, this driver, they're pumped and excited because they've won the pole. They want to hang on to it now. That's the next challenge of 100 miles here on a beautiful day at Portland. Jan?
Hey, Gary, we're standing by with a legend right here, Herschel McGriff. This guy has won 14 races at the Riverside Raceway. And Herschel, you told us before, you know for sure that record is going to stand now that racetrack is closed. But you love road racing, don't you?
Well, I really do. That's been my forte, although, of course, I was born on short track, so I've tried to keep my driving pretty versatile.
You've been racing for nearly 50 years. What's the attraction here? Do you still get a buzz out of this? You still get excited now? We're almost ready for Gentlemen Start Your Engines.
Well, I really do, and we got so many young guys coming up that are great, but none of them have told me I'm old yet, so I guess I don't know when to quit.
Well, they're not telling you you're getting old because they know that'll make you mad, and they don't want you mad out here on this racetrack. Herschel McGriff, a guy to watch today.
One of the 37 drivers set to go in the REB-CO Northwest Tour event from Portland International Raceway. We'll be back with the starting lineup in just a moment. ESPN Stock Car Racing from Portland International Raceway, brought to you by Goodyear, #1 in tires. By Valvoline, the #1 choice of America's top mechanics. And by NASCAR 94 Year in Review. To order, call 1-800-71-NASCAR. Beautiful setting here at Portland International Raceway. Mount Hood, of course, just over the 9th turn, and we have 37 cars set to go for competition. Let's take a look at the starting lineup. On the pole is Lance Hooper from Palmdale, California, in the Golden West Trailers Goodyear Pontiac car 07. Mark Martin's outside the front row from Batesville, Arkansas, in the #6 Valvoline Ford. Our starting lineup brought to you by Suzuki. Second row, Ken Peterson from San Rafael, California, car number 25, and Jeff Crow from Walla Walla, Washington, in car number 1. Gary Smith starts third from Victoria, British Columbia, in car 77, and Roger Havoc in car number 65. The fourth row, Bruce Volstead in car number 17, and Ernie Cope, Derek's cousin, in car 10. Herschel McGriff starts on the inside of the fifth row along with Ted Olson. The sixth row consists of Mike Ramsey and Herschel McGriff Jr. In the seventh row, current points leader in the Northwest Tour, Ron Eaton and Chris Cunningham. The eighth row, Tom Pinkowski and Dale Jarrett. The ninth row, Monty English, former champion of this series, and Jerry McDuffie. In the 10th row, it'll be Darrell Krentz and Mac McGarry. Lee Daly and Rick Schultz start in row number 11. The 12th row, Mark Crow and Bob McGrew. Row number 13, it's Lee Sutton in car number 40 and Martin Ressler in number 81. Ken McMahon starts in car number 3 on the inside of the 14th row alongside Jerry Fink in car 58. Scott Hensrud, 49, and Pete Harding at number 39 make up the 15th row. In row number 16, it's Darrell George and Ken Bailey, car 27. 17th row, Bill Lawrence in 21 and Rick Pointer in number 75. The 18th row is Jody Tanner in 36 and Mark Bold in number 12. He took a provisional start, as did Frank Poole in car number 67. So there are the 37 cars that have qualified for today's race. And as you can see, the motors have been started. The cars are beginning to pull away, and they will be getting the green flag before too long. Portland International Raceway, of course, has hosted the Indy cars for many years. Those are the festival corners that Bobby Hillen talked about. It's just past the start-finish line. It's a 1.95-mile road course, and we have 9 turns. They'll go 52 laps. That's just over 100 miles. This racetrack very challenging for these guys. Few of them have experience on road courses. There is the pole sitter, car 07. That is Lance Hooper, one of the Southwest Tour drivers who has come here and pretty much dominated things, although Mark Martin gave him a run for his money in the qualifying that was held yesterday afternoon. So while they warm up the engines, we're going to take another quick break here and be back for the start of this 100-mile race, the Trendwest Resorts 100 from Portland. We'll be right back. Welcome back to ESPN Speed World. Today from Portland International Raceway, the NASCAR REB-CO Northwest Tour Series event. 52 laps of racing on this 1.9-mile road course. Let's check on the pit strategy. First, Gary Gerald.
Before we check on pit strategy with Jan Beekes, Bob, let's talk about a couple of drivers to keep in mind in this event today. We've met some of the marquee principals, a couple of guys that are regulars on the Northwest Tour doing very well. Gary Smith, a rookie, whose father was a 4-time Winston West champion. Gary and his Canadian crew come down from Vancouver, the British Columbia area here. He starts in the 3rd row today. He's 2nd in the Northwest Tour points, and he is a young man on the move in stock car racing. Ron Eaton, longtime champion, 32 career wins. He's been a champion twice in the Northwest Tour. He drives car number 7. It's red with white numbers. You can't miss it. He's starting a little further back. I bet you he'll be a player before the day is over. Smith in 77, Eaton in number 7. Keep an eye on those two guys. Now let's check that pit strategy. Jan?
Gary, this race is 100 miles, but these cars won't quite go the 100 miles on the fuel. That is, if it's all green. Now, if we had a lot of yellow flags here this afternoon, these cars might make it the whole way on fuel. We might never see them here on pit road. But chances are, during a yellow flag, these guys will come in and change tires. But they can only change 2 tires under yellow flag conditions. But one thing you know for sure, unless a guy's car is banged up, we'll probably only see him once here on pit road today. Bob?
All right, Jan, let's take a look at the road course itself. 9 corners, as we indicated, 1.9 miles in length. And Bobby, where are the passing points that we're going to see today?
Well, Bob, I think most of the passing is going to be going into the Festival Corner chicane. Like I say, these guys are the wide front straightaway. They're going to get 2 and 3 abreast, and they're going to try to outbrake each other down into the chicane. Also, on the back straightaway and around the back straightaway, going into the last little left-hander before you get into the 9 and 10 corners. It's a blind corner. The guys are kind of running a little bit off away from the wall so they can see around the corner, but they can do some passing down that back straightaway.
Now, if you have been racing for many years on the half miles and the 3/8 mile racetracks and you have gotten rid of the butterflies, do you have them at this point, having never run on a road course before?
I think some of these guys really will have some butterflies because they've got to think about doing a lot of shifting during the day, and that brings up another point. In Winston Cup racing, we run the Jericho transmission. It makes it very simple to drive the race car. You can still drive with your 1 foot on the gas pedal, 1 foot on the brake, and don't even use a clutch. But some of these guys don't have Jericho transmissions. They've got a regular T10, what we call a T10, and they need to use a clutch. So for guys that haven't raced road courses, and then if they don't have the good transmission, they really got their handful today. So you know, it's going to be interesting.
Herschel McGriff says he doesn't use that new Jericho stuff and the non-clutch. He pushes the clutch in every time to shift gears. Well, the cars have reached the end of the backstretch. They have turn 8 and number 9 to negotiate before now coming onto the main straightaway, looking for a green flag and 52 laps of competition. Watch this first corner here. The festival turns as they go into it. The field comes off of corner number 9 and begins to accelerate. The pole sitter Hooper has a rather substantial advantage as they come down and get the green flag. Now let's see what happens as they go into this chicane. Hooper has the lead. Mark Martin has dropped all the way back to 4th position as they go through this chicane, turns 1 and 2.
Hooper got a really good jump on the start and got out in front of Mark Martin, and it looks like a couple others did too. So I don't know if Mark had trouble in the beginning of the race, but Hooper definitely has it going.
Lance Hooper with about a car length advantage. That is Jeff Crow in car number 1, who has gone into 2nd position now. The number 25 of Ken Peterson has gone to 3rd place, and Mark Martin, who started alongside in the front row, has fallen back to 4th. There's Peterson, car number 25. We have seen him run numerous times at Sonoma when we go out there to do the Winston Cup race and the Southwest Tour event that we televise on Saturday. But he's in the Northwest Tour here today, running 3rd, and coming up on Jeff Crow. There's Mark Martin, car number 6. That will be a familiar car for you. It's the same colors and paint scheme, of course, as his NASCAR Winston Cup car. He's running 4th as they come off corner number 9 and about to complete lap number 1. Lance Hooper has the advantage over Jeff Crow. And really, the festival corners weren't as bad as we thought they were going to be, Bobby. I don't think anybody got off.
Well, they really didn't, Bob. You know what?
Well, there's somebody off in car in the 9th turn. That's the number 40 machine driven by Lee Sutton.
Okay, well, he got going good, but no, you're right. The festivals, it wasn't that bad for them. They bumped into each other with the bumpers a little bit, but they all made it through clean, so that's a good job for those guys.
Sutton drops back to the back of the pack. Meanwhile, number 12, Mark Bold, didn't make the festival corners, it appeared, and went through the gravel. But there is Lance Hooper, who has the lead and beginning to stretch it out now on Jeff Crow. They go down the back stretch. Actually, it's not a straightaway, but a long sweeping corner.
They have to run a little bit off of that wall going down around that back straightaway, because if they run real tight, it limits their vision. It's already a blind corner, and so they come out a little bit and they can see a little bit further around that corner. I think that's why you see them run off away from that wall a little bit.
Martin now closing in on the 3rd place Peterson just a little bit as they cross the stripe once again. In 5th place is the 77 car. That is Gary Smith, the driver that Gary Gerald talked about, the son of the former Winston West champion Roy Smith. And there's the 65 of Roger Havoc, who is running in 6th place. Back in 7th is the 94 of Ted Olson.
I tell you, Bob, I think Mark Martin's just going to play it cool right now. He's got a really good race car. He's got a lot of road course experience, and I think he's going to give these guys a chance to do their thing out here. But when the day comes and it gets towards the end, I think he's going to be right up front.
There's no doubt that a lot of race fans have probably come here today to see Mark Martin and Dale Jarrett run. But on the other hand, there are a lot of people that are hoping that Mark Martin and Dale Jarrett won't come in here and just blow everybody away.
Well, that's exactly right. You know, these guys are very excited about racing here. They're excited to be racing against Mark and against Dale, but they surely don't want these guys beating them, and they're going to do all they can do to stay in front of them.
Pretty good battle for second here. Peterson is trying to get to the inside, coming off corner number 9 onto the straightaway and trying to take second from Jeff Crow. Let's see if he's successful. At the line, he's still behind Crow. Now trying to maybe make a move here and outbreak him into the festival curves, and he didn't quite make it.
I tell you, Crow did a great job holding him off right there. You know, he had the line, he knew it, and he went on in the corner, and you know, that shows experience right there.
So Crow hangs on to second position. Looks like we may have some fluid coming out of the back of the 25 car. We'll keep an eye on that. Oh, he's sideways going through the S's there. A little bit coming out of the overflow there on the right side of the car.
Just a little bit of fuel, Bob. I don't think that's anything to worry about. That's going to burn down and not be a factor, except the guy behind him is going to get a windshield full, and I know he's not happy about that.
And that, of course, is Mark Martin, who's keeping his distance. First lap was turned at 87.09 miles an hour. They qualified at about 90, so they're about 3 miles an hour off the qualifying pace, but not bad. Lance Hooper continues to lead. We continue to watch. Jeff Crow in number 1, Ken Peterson in 25, and Mark Martin in number 6, running 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
I was watching Mark, and he can run his car over those yellow rumple strips, you know, as well as anyone without tearing up his equipment. I think once these guys see what he's doing, they're going to learn from him, and they're going to start taking advantage of that and using a little bit more of the racetrack.
And Peterson is sideways coming off of one of the festival corners, and Mark Martin takes advantage. And now they head into what is actually corner number 1, and Martin is a little sideways.
Well, exactly when I said Martin was doing a great job of getting on the rumble strips, he hits them and it knocks him sideways. So, you know, maybe these rumble strips are big at this racetrack, and there's certain areas where you can't get on them.
That was incredible. Let's look at it again. Here they are going, first of all, into the festival curves, the chicane.
25 had to get on the brakes there to keep him running the back of 1, and I think that's what started him to lose his rhythm, and Mark took advantage of it. Gets a little bit loose right there when he hits the strips. Then I think he does the same thing going into this corner.
Okay, let's go to Jan Bikas with a report from the pit area.
Bob, we had a chance to check in with Ken Peterson's crew, and they said he was getting a little impatient behind the number 1 machine, and he was really starting to push hard. That may have been why he got so close and then all of a sudden got squirrely, and they're very thankful that Mark Martin was not able to go by.
And apparently we have an overall yellow that's being displayed on the racetrack.
Now, I saw Jeff Crow waving his hand to Peterson, so you know, obviously he's got a good spotter. He knew what was going on, and he let him know, hey, I'm going to be slowing down here.
And there's the reason for the caution. The number 61 of Mark Ramsey has gotten off the corner, off the course, and it looks like into the sand trap. So they'll have to retrieve that car before we go back to racing. Here are the top 5. It's Hooper, Crow, Peterson, Martin, and Smith. We'll take a break and be back with more of the Northwest Tour race from Portland International Raceway. Well, we're under caution here at Portland International Raceway because of this car, the number 61 of Mike Ramsey, that got off the track, and they had to take the tow truck to get him off of that particular area of the racetrack. Now, they are not going through the festival corners here. They're going straight in order for that safety vehicle to do its job.
Well, that's a good idea, Bob. And I tell you, I feel for the guy in the 61 car because they had the strap underneath the front end of the car, pulling him off the gravel, and it was yanking his front end off. It was tearing the front end of his car up, and it's a terrible deal because you want to get out of the car and tell the guys, here's how you need to tow me in, but you don't want to get out of the car because you need to be in there and get ready to go. And so, hopefully it won't hurt his car too bad, and he'll be able to get back in there.
Overall caution, let's go to Jan Beekes.
Roger Bracken is the man who turns the wrenches. He's the crew chief for Ken Peterson. Now, you said to me a few minutes ago that he radioed to you just a little more horsepower. That's what he needs right now to go to the front.
That's what he said, just a little more horsepower and he'd be gone.
Now, what did he say about the incident? He got real squirrely over there in the festival curves. Did he radio back and say anything about that?
No, he just got a little impatient there. He wants to get going.
Now, see a guy that likes to go to the front early. Are these tires the type that you can run hard right away?
During our practice sessions, we run them pretty hard and they stayed under us pretty good, so I'm hoping for the best at this point.
Now, tell me, we've gone yellow very early. If we keep going yellow, would you try and go the whole way? Would you have enough fuel?
No, we change. We change tires and fuel.
Okay, thanks, Roger.
Okay, thanks for your seeing.
If they come in for tires, which they probably will have to do, of course they would, top it off with fuel. Still under caution. We'll be back with more from Portland right after these messages. Just about to go green for the resumption of this Trendwest Resorts 100 race for the REB-CO Northwest Tour event. Here's Gary Gerald.
Mike Stewart, you're the crew chief here working with Lance Hooper. You've got the lead. You got this early yellow. What's the reaction of your driver to the early laps?
Well, he's doing a real good job. He's driving real smooth. We're just cruising along, riding right now. Hope we get to the end through all the traffic, and we'll see what happens at the end.
Now, he said this is only his 4th time to be on a road circuit. Does that create apprehension for you and your crew here as you watch?
No, he's a real smart kid. He learns real fast, and he's pretty calm. He's doing a real good job.
Glad to hear it. We'll check with you later.
Thank you.
Crew chief for Lance Hooper as he continues to hang on to the lead. He has led every lap so far, and we're just about a half a lap away from going green and the resumption of this race. There's Lance.
I tell you what, I talked to Lance this morning. He said he wanted to be in Winston Cup by the year 2000, and the way he's going today, it's going to be a lot quicker than that.
Well, he's certainly been impressive here in the early laps, and without question, that's one thing that this show that we're doing here today might do. It might give some exposure to some of these guys, just what they need to step up to some other division.
It really will. They're very excited about being on TV this weekend, and all the guys are putting out their best effort, and they want to come out east and race, and it's just really nice to see the enthusiasm that they have.
We do have a car that will be separating first and second as we take a look at the top 10. Monty English came in for a pit stop in car number 28 and came out on the racetrack position between first and second. So that's the white car there that you see that's between the leader Hooper and second place Jeff Crow.
Well, I tell you, Monty English and his lubrication station Chevy guys, they let me get in his car the other day and take a few laps in it so that I could get a feel for, what it's like to race this racetrack in these kind of cars. And he's got a really good race car and a good crew, and I really enjoy driving this circuit. It's a real rhythm circuit. All the corners lead onto each other, and you got to have a lot of good rhythm, and that tends to make the front runners have an advantage because they can get on away from traffic. But Monty's in a good position right now, and hopefully he can get his lap back.
It was a pretty stupid thing to do, though, because we nearly didn't get Bobby out of the cockpit into the booth, because after the ride you wanted to race, right?
I was very excited. I wanted to stay in the race car and race the race, but I'm doing the second best thing right now.
There you go. Pace car pulls off. Let's see what happens here. They come down off of corner number 9, looking for the green flag and a resumption of this race. We're on lap number 7, about to complete lap number 8, and the green flag flies. We are back to racing. Lance Hooper with a nice jump once again down the straightaway. Monty English on the right of your screen. The white car will probably give way to the faster cars on the bottom, and positions being fought for. Oh, and Peterson spins.
Well, there's our festival for us.
It didn't happen on the start, but it happened on the first restart. And Ken Peterson is the victim. could have been that on that first lap, everybody knew that it was going to be weird, and they kind of went through there cautiously, but on the restart, everybody was ready to go for it.
They were definitely going for it, and they had some action down there, and I think there's going to be some more before the day's over with.
Here's how it happened once again. Looks like he may have been hit by this, what is that, the 94 car of Ted Olson.
Yeah, Ted got up on the apron really strong, and looks like he tried to go straight, and he ran in the back of 25, and that started the whole deal.
Olson started in 10th position and had moved up to 7th. Here's another angle. Oh, he was way off the racetrack, and when he came back on, just couldn't avoid hitting Peterson in the rear end and spinning him around. But luckily, everybody that was behind Peterson able to avoid him.
They did a good job.
So Lance Hooper holds on to the lead. There is Crow still running second. Mark Martin is third on the left of your screen. Monty English in 28 again is a lap down. And there is the 94 of Ted Olson, who has now moved up to 4th position in a very strong run for this driver.
Yeah, he came out pretty good on that whole deal.
Yeah, he did. He got off the track and picked up a couple of positions, knocked Peterson off, and kept going.
But does he have a little bit of damage to the right side of his car? I thought I just saw maybe a little bit over there.
Now we're watching the 4 car of Herschel McGriff behind Ted Olson. Yeah, there is a damage to the right side of the car.
They need to, it'll be okay now, but when he pits next time, they need to probably, push that thing back in, and he may be a little quicker.
Aerodynamically, though, on a racetrack like this, it probably isn't going to hurt very much.
Not too much, especially if they don't run too long under green. If they go a long time, it could be a problem later on.
English now trying to get to the inside of Olson. There is the damage very evident there on the right side of the car behind the front tire. Monty English behind him at 28, a lap car, and then the red number 4 belongs to 67-year-old Herschel McGriff.
Herschel looks like he's getting ready to make his move now.
Let's see what happens here as they go into the festival corners once again. Olson, who has dropped back. Olson has dropped back now a few positions. The 77 car of Gary Smith got by him. Here comes Ernie Cope in the 10 car. Cope gets off the racetrack a little bit.
Cope's moving up, though. I think Cope and Herschel McGriff, they're coming to the front, and Cope's learning. He hasn't raced but one race on a road course, and I think he's starting to get comfortable, and he's going to start hanging it out a little bit here.
Let's check in the pits with Jan Beekes.
Dale Jarrett just brought his car in moments ago. We thought that he was in big trouble. It turns out that the number 28 machine is running hot. They kicked the screen out of the radiator. They're hoping that's going to let, not the radiator, out of the front of the grill, hoping to let more air through to cool that car down. But right now, Dale Jarrett way at the back of the field.
So Jarrett having a tough time here this weekend. Didn't have a particularly strong qualifying session yesterday, and now has trouble here in the early going.
Jarrett, he's been a little bit uncomfortable with his situation all weekend long. I've talked to him a couple times, and when you come out here and you do a deal like this, you really enjoy doing it, you enjoy racing, but you don't have a lot of control over what you're going to get equipment-wise. And the guys on his team are really working hard. They've been trying to get him a good race car and a comfortable race car, but sometimes it's the luck of the draw.
Once again, we have yellow flag slowing the field. There is gravel in the festival curve, so there will there's some of the dirt and gravel and debris that's been kicked up on the racetrack, and so we will have to go caution for the second time here this afternoon. It's Lance Hooper leading and Jeff Crow second. Mark Martin runs in 3rd position. Herschel McGriff has moved to 4th. Gary Smith is in 5th position, and Ted Olson, who was up there challenging, has dropped all the way back to 7th spot. We have completed 10 laps. What do you think, Bobby? Is this an opportunity now for these guys to pit, or is it a little early?
Well, I think it's a little bit early, but if the guy, hopefully the 94 car will come in and maybe fix his body work. Then he might not have to pit again. He might be able to go all the way, so that strategy could work for him. But I don't see any of the front runners pitting at this time.
There's Frank Poole in car number 67, who has come in for a pit stop. He actually didn't participate in the qualifying session yesterday, but was able to get into the starting field. They're doing some work on that car, it appears, and there are a lot of guys on pit road that look like they are getting ready for some pit stops. I believe that's the crew of Tom Pinkowski, car number 19, the guy with the jack in hand, maybe waiting for his driver to come in. Unofficially, Pinkowski's running in 13th position. And as you indicated, Bobby, there is Ted Olson, who has come in for the pit stop and some repair on that body work that's damaged on the right side of the car.
Well, on a racetrack like this, track position is everything. And, you know, if this could work to his advantage, if he comes in here and gets his stuff fixed, makes a tire change, then he can go all the way. Then these other guys, they're going to have to pass him to beat him at the end of the race. So this deal could work right into his hands.
Certainly, he's going to top the car off with fuel and should have enough to complete the rest of the race. So, yeah, we could be seeing some interesting strategy played out here as Ted Olson come in for the pit stop. We'll be back with more from Portland International Raceway with Lance Hooper leading. Trackbacks are brought to you by Quaker State, the intelligent oil for longer engine life. Here's Jan Beekes.
This is a sight you don't see very often. Here you have a NASCAR pit setup, but behind me, an IndyCar pit setup. There's a much different level of technology here. This is a fuel tank for an IndyCar, full of methanol. It fills the car by a gravity feed. But then look at the NASCAR setup that we have. We have a fuel can here, and then, of course, instead of a single lug nut that you would have on an IndyCar wheel, if you look inside there, you can actually see they've got 5 nuts they have to work with. Then, of course, the jack, instead of air jacks, would be a standard pump jack, but of course this is the racing version. Now here's the interesting part. Why don't they use IndyCar technology when you're using a pit stop with a NASCAR? Well, there's a very specific reason. That is, these NASCAR pit stops are designed for the spectators to make it look as though everything has to happen just like it would on a street car. In other words, on a road car, you'd have to change all those wheel nuts. You'd have to jack the car up, and then of course you'd have to fuel it with a fuel can. So it's not that the technology is not available, it's that NASCAR wants these pit stops to look just like what you might want to do in your garage.
Bobby Hillen had an interesting observation yesterday that led to that track fact. Bobby's father, of course, was a longtime owner of Indy cars and sprint cars, and I guess when you went to your first stock car race, you wondered why they were so far behind in technology.
Well, that's exactly right, Bob. I laughed and I said, what are these guys doing? But as I learned NASCAR and realized that this is the whole spirit of NASCAR, to really relate to the guy that's watching the race.
Here's Gary Gerald.
And on pit road, Ken Peterson, remember, he was involved in that incident while he was up there challenging for a top spot at the Festival Curves. There's a little bit of damage on the right front side, but their concern is the car was stuck in 3rd gear. They tried to make him a change. Now they're going to have to push it and try to get him started. The engine catches once, it catches twice. Now it roars to life, and away Peterson goes.
Well, earlier when some cars made pit stops, and there were 5 of them that did so, including the 94 of Ted Olson, NASCAR had closed the pits, and those that came in were actually in violation of a rule and will have to go to the back of the pack. So Ted Olson, who was up in the top 5 and then dropped back when he ran over the rumble strips, will have to go to the back of the pack for the restart in just a few moments. It's Hooper, Jeff Crow, Mark Martin, Herschel McGriff Sr., and Gary Smith, the top 5 in the REB-CO Northwest Tour Series event. We'll be right back. Race fans enjoying some beautiful weather and beautiful sunshine out here at Portland, and the same is forecast for tomorrow when we bring you our first IndyCar race of the year here on ESPN at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. The Budweiser G.I. Joe's 200, and the man you saw, Jacques Villeneuve, will start from pole position. Well, there is Tom Pinkowski. We saw his crew earlier readying for this stop, and he has made it, and Dale Jarrett has pitted right behind Pinkowski.
Is Dale on the lead lap? Do we know that?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
He's been in a couple of times, but has not lost a lap. And Jan is right down there in Dale's pit. Jan?
That's right. We had the opportunity to watch both those pit stops at the same time. It turns out anyone who's having a slight handling problem, or anyone who thinks maybe there's not a yellow flag coming later in the race, I'm not sure about that one, but they want to come in now, they all have enough fuel, anyone who pitted now, to make it to the end of the race. That's the strategy for Dale Jarrett. We knew, obviously, the car was running hotter earlier. They had another opportunity now to get some more air to that radiator.
Well, let's not count Dale out. He gets back in line now, getting set for the restart of this race. I believe the lights on top of the pace car are out, indicating we will go green this time around.
I think Ted Olson's going to be in good shape, too, now that he's got his fuel. He's ready to go the rest of the way also.
Back down to Gary Gerald.
And again, with Roger Bracken, we saw the crew working. You had to get Ken Peterson out of third gear. You were able to do that. How much has that cost you?
Well, it's from the front to the back, and that's pretty terrible. But I think we're all done with our pit stops. We'll just have to see. And thanks to ESPN and NASCAR for putting this race together.
Well, all right. We're happy to be here. Wish you well. Thanks, Roger.
Okay, thank you.
Getting set for a restart now. The cars at the end of the backstretch. What brings a driver like Mark Martin and Dale Jarrett out here? Is it sponsor obligation, or exactly what is it, Bobby?
Well, I think that, you know, number one, these guys are race car drivers. They love to race. That's why they're here, and the sponsors probably play a small part in that, but they really love to race, and I think that's the number one factor.
Well, the 39 car of Pete Harding has nosed into the sand in the festival curbs, and so I don't believe we're going to get a start.
No, that's going to be, yeah, I don't think they're going to do that. I don't know what happened. I don't know how he could get in that position from leaving pit road.
I don't either, but he is nosed in, and so the suggested green flag and restart of this race has been aborted. They'll have to get the wrecker out to get this car out of the sand trap. That's Pete Harding in car number 39 that has gone into the sand. Let's take a look and see what happened. He just drove off, Bobby. There wasn't anybody around him.
Well, he did lock up his right front brake. I saw smoke coming out of the right front, and, you know, that could have caused him to, you know, feel like, hey, I don't have any steering, and he probably just decided instead of loop the car, go straight into the gravel.
That's what he did, but they have the car out of the sand now, and the one more sign is being given. We'll be back to green in just a minute when you rejoin us at Portland. Bob Jenkins, Bobby Hillen, Gary Gerald, and Jan Beekes back at Portland, where tomorrow you will see the Indy cars on this racetrack with Jacques Villeneuve leading to the green flag at 4 o'clock Eastern Time right here on ESPN. Lights on top of the pace car out. The leader of the race is Lance Hooper, who currently is third in the NASCAR Southwest Tour points, behind Jim Englebright and Craig Rudman. They come off of corner number 9, and they look for the green flag. And a restart of the race. The green flies. Mark Martin dives to the inside as Hooper and the others see the restart of the race. Now we'll watch him once again go into this chicane, and the traffic gets awfully tight. They're 4 abreast, now down to 2.
I tell you, Herschel was right up, tucked under Martin really tight. I thought there was going to be some action there, but Herschel's got the experience. He knew what to do.
Herschel McGriff isn't given to anybody, despite the fact that he's probably, in some cases, 40 years older than many of these guys. 67 years old for Herschel McGriff. There is Lance Hooper, the leader of the race, as he comes off one of the S's. Right behind him is Jeff Crow in car number 1, but in third position, just behind and knocking at the door, is Mark Martin. There he is, within a car length and closing in.
I tell you, Mark's got to be having a good time. These cars have bias ply tires versus the radials, what we run in Winston Cup. They're very forgiving, and I'm sure Mark's having a good time sliding his car around the racetrack. And these things are just really soft, and they waller over a lot, and I bet you he's just really enjoying this.
But what an adjustment that must be after running so much on the radial tires.
Well, it really is, you know, but when you get out here and you start driving these cars, it does not take long to just get into the groove of it and really start enjoying it. I think you can really see that in what Mark's doing right now.
Some good racing going on back here. That was Monty English, number 28, who is a lap down on the field. There he is, but behind him is the 77 of Gary Smith, who is in 6th position at the moment, and he tries to go to the inside to pass English and does so.
Ernie Cope has really made a move here since they've gone green.
And the 28 car of English all over the racetrack, and the 18 of Herschel McGriff Jr. also gets by. But again, English is a lap car 28. And yes, there are 2 28 cars. Dale Jarrett's number 28 is actually being scored as car number 29, but he's retaining it to make the car look like his Winston Cup car.
That's right, and Gary Smith has got some kind of problem with his hood. It looks like he's getting some air up in there, and I don't know if he's going to be able to make it or if he's going to have to pit to secure that hood. I guess NASCAR is going to make that call.
down the backstretch.
He is in 6th place right now, so he's going to hate to give up that track position if NASCAR does make him pit.
There's Herschel McGriff Jr., car number 18, started in 12th position, currently up to 7.
It looks like Junior's giving a couple of them a love tap or two. He's got a little bit of front end damage, but I don't think it's anything he's really got to worry about.
There is Ernie Cope in car number 10, braking to go into the chicane. Right behind him is Smith. Roy Smith, his father, a 4-time NASCAR Winston West champion, and Gary actually got most of his experience in go-karts, which might be a little bit of a help to him on this road course. And as you can see, the first 3 cars are running very close together, especially Mark Martin behind Jeff Crow. Oh, and the 18 car of McGriff Jr. is off the racetrack, but he's not going to be off long.
No, he's digging right now. He did the right thing. He kept the motor running. He's got it going, so he's not going to lose too much.
He was in 7th position, and he's going to drop back a few positions, but he did a nice job of getting that car straightened out and back on the racetrack.
It looks like he ate a little bit of grass up in there in the front end. He's got some. He's going to have to definitely come get that knocked out, and so he doesn't overheat.
Back up front, meanwhile, it is still Hooper leading Crow and Martin. Jeff Crow's brother, by the way, started in 23rd position. That's Mark Crow, has moved all the way up to 8th, so we have both of the Crow brothers now in the top 10, with Jeff running 2nd and Mark running in 8th spot.
Well, I tell you, Mark is really giving it all he's got. You know, I just saw him coming out of the chicanes there, getting in the dirt a little bit. He's over on the yellow part of the racetrack. He looks like he's really hanging that car out, and look at him right there sliding through that corner, just doing all he can do, I think, to keep up with these guys. So, you know, definitely his experience is helping him, but it's not going to be as easy for him as maybe I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I think a lot of us came into this race thinking that, well, Mark Martin qualified 2nd, but he'll smoke him when he gets on the racetrack. That has not been the case. Meanwhile, Peterson in car number 25 has moved up to 11th already after the pit stop that put him in the back of the pack.
Well, with those positions he's gained already, and the fact that he doesn't have to pit again, he's really going to be in a good position at the end of this race.
Yep, most of the cars ahead of him right now will have to come in for a pit stop, more than likely. And so Peterson is in a good position right now. We've got another car off. That's Ken McMahon in car number 3, who's off the racetrack, but not for long. Throwing up a little bit of dust and dirt as he gets back onto the racetrack, coming out right ahead of the number 7 car of Ron Eaton, the current points leader in this division.
I'll tell you, he did a great job coming back onto the racetrack, nice and straight, without, you know, going right into the flow of traffic. I think when you're out there racing, you see a guy coming back on the racetrack, it really makes you nervous, wanting to see him just ease onto the track nice and straight.
The 77 car has gone into 5th position, and let's go down to Gary Gerald, who's with his crew chief.
John King is the crew chief. John, what did NASCAR say about that hood?
Well, they were concerned about it flapping real bad. It got real tight in the chicane. He got into the back of somebody, but it bent the bar up, which bowed the hood to catch air, but all the hood pins are in it, and they say go ahead and run.
What's Gary saying about how the car's handling?
According to my watch, the car's handling real good, and Gary's real happy right now with it. We're just kind of pacing ourselves, trying to stay up front. Somewhere after lap 25, we're going to come in, put on rear tires, go back out, and hopefully stay with the leaders till the end.
That's the story with number 77, currently in 5th place, Gary Smith.
And he is 26 years old from Victoria, British Columbia, and is the leading in rookie points at the moment. He has moved to 5th, putting Ernie Cope back to 6th spot.
I tell you what, I wish that in the Winston Cup division, if we told the NASCAR officials that everything was okay, they'd tell us, hey, go ahead, just go ahead and run. I wish we could. I wish it was that easy.
Lance Hooper continuing his lead, in fact, building it up just a little bit. And Ernie Cope has come into the pits. Here's an unscheduled stop for Ernie. This is Derek's brother. He started 8th and was running in the top 10, had fallen back a position, but was still very much in contention, but now keeps it under the 35-mile-an-hour speed limit on pit road to find his pit. And he has finally arrived.
It doesn't.
Let's go to Jan. He's right there.
We have the opportunity to get a nice close-up look. The hood off the machine here. Obviously, this is a major problem for the number 10 machine. They're looking behind the engine right now. He rolled in, Bob, you said under the 35-mile-per-hour speed limit, but Cope here, I think, was well under that. In other words, I think he was just coasting, bringing this machine in.
Ernie Cope is in his 6th year in this series. Last year finished 3rd in points. He was 5th in points in 93 and 7th in 91. Now here's the 65 of Roger Habig and Mark Crow battling for position, and that is for 6th place.
The track's, I don't know what the condition of the track is, but somebody was smoking. As those cars went by, you could see a yellow car smoking, and we're going to see what develops on that a little bit later.
Roger Habig, another of the rookie contenders in the Northwest Tour Series this year. And Mark Crow is also. Mark Crow in 7th position. His brother Jeff currently runs in 2nd position. Who has caught up with Ernie Cope.
Ernie, you got out of the car. We saw you coming in. Oh, looked like you were coasting. What happened?
I think it blew up the transmission. I lost 3rd gear after the first caution. Then it started popping out of 2nd and 4th, and I just couldn't continue like that. The straight arrow main and tail of Monte Carlo was running good. I think we'd had a pretty decent finish, but I couldn't run it like that.
Now tell us about this track. Were you enjoying yourself out here on this road course?
Yeah. I prefer oval track racing a lot better, but I'm getting better at this road race. It's becoming more funner the more we do it.
I'm sure you'd like to be out there longer today, but thankfully you're okay, and there'll be more races. Thank you.
Thanks.
Ernie Cope is only 25 years of age. He runs this series. He also runs the Southwest Tour, and he had one Winston West start last year, finishing in 6th position. So Ernie has a bright future ahead of him, trying to follow in the footsteps of his cousin, Derek. We'll be back with more from Portland International Raceway. The leader is Lance Hooper. Stay with us. ESPN Speed World coverage of the REB-CO Northwest NASCAR Tour Series event from Portland, being brought to you by the more than 1,000 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. And by Firestone, America's tire since 1900. Lance Hooper is currently leading our race here on the 1.9-mile road course at Portland, but the man on the move is Ken Peterson in car number 25, who is up to 7th already. After a pit stop, he has come through the field, and now he has made that up to 6th place. So Peterson definitely the man on the move. One driver that is not, however, is Dale Jarrett. Jan Beekes is with him.
Well, talk about big names. First, we talked about Cope, Ernie Cope. He was out. Now, Dale Jarrett. What happened to you, Dale?
Apparently something stemming from yesterday still with our problem. We ran a lot of oil temperature the whole time. Had to knock the screen out to try to help it some, but it just continued to go up, and it just kept getting weaker and weaker, so no sense in tearing their engine completely up.
Now, tell me about the front of your car. It is covered with oil. I don't know how you can see out of this thing. Where'd that come from?
Yeah, one of the guys either lost a rear end or transmission out there right in front of me, put down a lot of grease, and to stay on the track, but managed to do that. Makes it interesting trying to see and trying to hit your spots out there, but you know, I appreciate the guys' hard work here, and sorry it didn't turn out any better.
Now you're still smiling. Did you enjoy the short time that you had out there? I know you were dropping back. You have some good battles?
You know, as we came back then and were able to pass some cars, it was fun. It's a good track to race. You can have a lot of fun racing, especially when you get the car good. I would like to have been a little bit more competitive, though.
Sure, you're off to Daytona now, huh?
Yeah, headed to Daytona. See Kelly and the kids tomorrow morning, have a little vacation, and get ready to try to win next Saturday.
Thanks, Dale.
Okay, thank you.
Of course, ESPN will also be there for the Pepsi 400 at Daytona International Speedway next Saturday morning at 11 o'clock Eastern Time, and we have reached the halfway point. We watched this battle for 9th and 10th position. The drivers involved Chris Cunningham in car 04. The 84 is Rick Schultz. And looks like we have a change of position. Yes, indeed, as Herschel McGriff Jr., who got off course, remember, a few laps ago, is beginning to work himself back up. He's now in 10th spot.
Well, Herschel was way behind, and I'll tell you, he's really getting it on right now, and you can see he's hanging it out, trying to get back up to the front, and if he can get some good position, when they come into pit, he'll still be in the hunt for this thing.
Chris Cunningham in car 04, another rookie. And let's go to the pits as Mark Martin makes a stop.
Fueling process almost complete for Mark Martin. They've changed 2 tires on the left side. Indication of some vent steam coming up on the right front side. Now this is a 4-tire change, and I was under the impression you could only change 2. But they're changing all 4. The overflow is being capped. Mark Martin, he's had contact with somebody today. There's a little mark on the right front, and he stalls coming off the jack. Now it catches, and he's gone.
It was well over 37 seconds for Mark Martin pit stop, and you can change only 2 tires under caution. You can change all 4 under green.
That's right, and I think Mark Martin had it planned to come and pit halfway through so that he would have good track position the second half of the race. You know, they did that at Sears Point in the Winston Cup race, and I'm sure they had it planned. So he's in good position now. When the other guys pit, he's got 4 fresh tires. So I think right there he just did what he needed to do.
And looks like we have a car that has spun right in the festival corners. That's number 14, I believe, isn't it? Bob McGrew. But boy, the car is stalled right in the middle of things down there in the chicane.
I tell you, that's a bad place to be sitting. When you're a race car driver and you're sitting right in the middle of the group, it's a terrible feeling knowing these guys are coming right at you. You're sitting there hoping and praying that they all see you and they all get slowed down.
And not accustomed to running on a road course. I'm sure a lot of the drivers maybe aren't playing. Oh, he had a little contact there with Ted Olson.
Well, it looks like he got up under him and tried to get on the binders and nothing. It just didn't stick. He got in there a little bit hot, and that's what happens.
Jeff Crow was also right there, got the left side tires off the racetrack, but not by very much, and so back on the racetrack. Here's the battle between number 65, Roger Havoc, and the number 2 of Mark Crow, and that is for 6th place. By the way, the average speed at the halfway point, because of the cautions we have had, 65.923 miles an hour.
You got the Hatfields and McCoys, and now this race you got the McGriffs and the Crows. The families are coming up there really making a run for it.
Father and son and brothers involved in some heated competition here at Portland. Jan Beekes has an update on the 94 car. Jan?
That's right, Bob. He was in a little bit earlier, and he made a pit stop because he'd been out mowing the grass. We're here down in pit lane, where the whole pit lane is covered with grass, where they scooped it out of the radiator. So this is many times for Ted Olson in car number 94. It's been off track today.
Yeah, he of course had to go to the back of the pack because he pitted when the pits were closed, then got off track. And it's been a tough day for Ted Olson, but he's still having a very, very respectable run.
And through all that, he still didn't get his right front fender fixed. It's still hanging out there catching air.
Yeah, so, it looks like it's even worse than ever.
It does look bad.
Working lap number 29. Olson is running there just ahead of Jeff Crow in the number 1 car, who's in 2nd position. But the interval between 1st and 2nd now has grown, and Lance Hooper enjoys a rather comfortable advantage at this point.
I tell you, Lance looks really good. It doesn't look like this is his first time to race this racetrack. He's obviously got a good head on his shoulders, and he's looking really good right now.
Boy, patience is everything, especially when you're coming here to a racetrack like this and very little experience. The 94 car, we understand, is getting a stop-and-go penalty for rough driving, the equivalent of the penalty box in NASCAR Winston Cup racing.
Well, you know, he's got that right front fender hanging out, and he might be swiping some cars with it, so they might not be liking that.
In any case, Ted Olson makes the stop, and they're going to take advantage of the penalty to change the tires on the car. Here's the AutoZone race recap. Hooper led all first 28 laps. We've had 2 cautions, a total of 9 laps, and as I indicated earlier, the average speed of the race is 65.923 miles an hour. Now we have Hooper coming up to lap some of the slower cars. Scott Hensrud in car number 49 is just ahead of him.
This is where he's really got to be careful, because these guys getting lapped right now are the guys that are having the most trouble on the racetrack, and Lance has got no reason to overdo it. He needs to really take it easy getting by these guys, because he's got a good lead right now, and if he doesn't get in any trouble right here, he should be okay the rest of the race.
That's Lee Daly in car number 20 in the Red Dog machine. He gets to the inside of him coming off of corner number 9, and Hooper disposes of him, putting him a lap down. And that red number 7 that you saw there at the bottom of your screen just a moment ago, that he will be attempting to lap next is Ron Eaton, the current points leader. They're second place, so there's an indication of just how much distance there is between first and second. Lance Hooper and Jeff Crow, car number 1. By the way, for you Mark Martin fans, after the pit stop, Mark has come out in 12th position and is fighting his way back up to the front.
Someone got in the dirt a little bit when Jeff Crow went through the chicane right there. You could see the dust in the air, so I don't know who it was, but there might be some debris on the track right there. We can just keep an eye out for it.
You saw a shot there of Ron Eaton just a moment ago. This hasn't been a particularly good race for him, the 51-year-old leader of the NASCAR Northwest Tour Series. The points leader, he's about to go a lap down. Lance Hooper, the leader in 07, is just behind him. Let's take a look at that action in the chicane just a few moments ago. Oh, yeah, Mark Crow off big time. Going over the rumble strips and then lost control and spun the car. Car number 2, Mark Crow, who was in the top 10. Gary Gerald has a report on pit road about Crow. Go ahead.
Well, this relates to Jeff Crow. Chuck Carruthers is the crew chief. You were very unhappy when your driver was involved in contact down there because it cost you a lot of space on the racetrack, but you didn't lose position.
No, we didn't really lose any position, but we were pretty close to the 07 car there, and I would have liked to stay a lot closer to them. Some of these lap cars, they get out there and they get to the lead pack and they think that maybe they ought to be racing with you, and they probably shouldn't be.
Well, how do you evaluate how Jeff has been doing here on a rare road racing event for him?
Oh, boy, I couldn't be happier with him. The kid has caught on to it really well. He's using his head right now. He's not overextending himself or the car. I just think he's doing a great job.
You wait for a yellow now to make your pit stop?
Yeah, we can only go about lap 37. If it's green to them, we'll have to bring him in.
Thanks, Chuck.
So that explains, Bobby, the reason that Crow has dropped so far behind Lance Hooper.
Exactly what we talked about with the traffic, you know, lapping these guys. You got to be careful.
The number 2 car of Mark Crow, his brother, is pretty slow on the racetrack. He had the trouble right here earlier, and it looks like he's got some problems there on maybe the front suspension, Bobby.
It did. When he got up on the yellow there just a little bit, that left front looked like there was some kind of problem. I don't know exactly what it is, but he's definitely off the pace.
He sure is. His best finish was a 10th at Yakima earlier this year, and we are under a full course yellow, we understand, for the 3rd time this afternoon. Looks like the 58 car of Jerry Fink is off the racetrack. And so for the 3rd time this afternoon, a full course caution is being observed here at Portland, and this will give some drivers an opportunity to come into the pits for their needed pit stop. Let's take a look at what happened here to Fink to see if we can, there it is, and once again, it's in the chicane. It's just sliding through the gravel, finally coming to a stop without hitting anything, but the car is going to have to be towed from that position.
Well, he needed about 5 more feet, and he could have been right back up there where he could have driven off.
So while we are under caution, we're going to take another break here and be back with more NASCAR Northwest Tour Racing, the Trendwest Resorts 100 from Portland International Raceway, right after these messages. NASCAR Northwest Tour Racing today on the road course at Portland International Raceway in support of the Indy cars tomorrow. And are you ready for this? A week-long sports competition in 27 events, 9 sports categories. More than 350 of the world's best athletes will compete for more than $370,000 in prize money. It's the Extreme Games on ESPN and ESPN2 beginning June 24th. That is going to be something to watch. All kinds of interesting categories like inline skating and skateboarding and sky surfing and street luge racing. Don't miss it. It's the Extreme Games. Here's Gary Gerald.
Well, Bob, we're down here in the leaders' pits. Lance Hooper, of course, has been out in front from the start of this race. He started from the pole position, and he's been doing a heck of a job, but we've been waiting for him to make a pit stop. Thus far, he stays on the track. Mike Stewart, we talked to his crew chief a short time ago, and he said, well, we're kind of pondering gambling here. We think maybe there'll be enough yellow that we don't have to make a fuel stop. But then the question that poses, and maybe Bobby Hillen can address it, without fresh rubber, will he be able to hang on to that lead when we know that Mark Martin is coming up on fresh tires?
That's right, Jerry. You know, Mark's already back in the top 10, and the last time they showed Lance on camera, he was really sliding the car around. It looked like his rear tires were really going on him, and you know, yes, he might make it on fuel, but Mark's got 4 tires that are a lot fresher than Lance's, and I expect Mark to come up there and blow him away if Lance doesn't come in and get some tires at some point in this race.
Well, let's see what happens here as the field comes down. Hooper staying out on the racetrack, but as you can see on the left, there are some cars that are making pit stops. The pits are open, so all of these coming in for pit stops are legal. That is Jeff Crow leading him down in car number 1. Again, everybody is careful to stay under the 35-mile-an-hour speed limit that has been established here. Also pitting Ron Eaton in car number 7, his teammate Herschel McGriff Sr. Here's Gary.
And Jeff Crow comes in, been running in second place. He lost all that position on the racetrack, even though he was still second to the leader, Hooper. But now with this yellow, they're hoping they can get back up in there, and he's going to do it with the benefit of fresh rubber. It's got to seem like they're just absolutely crawling at 35 miles an hour coming down through here. Having a little problem on that left side. They're still not complete on the rear. A couple of other cars who've also visited pit road stream by. The fueling process is now complete. They're not going to change on the right side. No, the fueling process is not complete. It was just 1 can. And now a lot of fuel just gushing around. They're having a hard time at the rear of the car. Remember, these teams normally don't have pit stops in their races, so this is a whole foreign experience. Catches, and Jeff Crow, oh, no, it doesn't catch. Fires a second time, and now he's away.
Quite a bit of fuel spilled there on pit road, Bobby.
I tell you, that's a very dangerous situation. You know, those guys really need to check those fuel fillers in the necks in the race cars, because when they get stuck like that, these guys are standing around in short sleeve shirts, and that fuel's spilling out. It's a dangerous situation. So, you know, there the guys are. They're gonna put some stay dry on it, and it's gonna be okay. But they were lucky in that situation.
They sure were. The oil dry, the stay dry they're putting down will soak a little bit of that up. But boy, that was looked like a major spill there.
I tell you what, getting back to the racetrack, you know, Ken Peterson's pitted, Mark Martin's pitted. They're running second and third. Lance hasn't pitted, and I think that's a mistake, because these guys are going to have track position on him later in the race, and he's going to have to have some kind of race car to come back up and beat these guys if he does decide to pit.
So we are anticipating some green flag racing here in just a moment, but the lights on top of the pace car are still on, so it'll be at least one more before we go back to racing. There is the leader of the race on your left, the 07 of Lance Hooper. So far, he has led every lap in this 100-miler. We are back at Portland getting set for a restart. The question is, why didn't Lance Hooper come in for a pit stop? It was obvious his tires were going away. Gary, can you help us?
Well, let's find out. Mike Stewart, how big of a gamble are you making here by not bringing your man in?
Oh, I don't believe it's a gamble. We figured it, and I think we can make it.
Well, what about tire wear?
Well, we haven't been running the car as hard as we can. We've kind of been riding there, so hopefully we won't get a flat tire. I think we'll be all right.
Do you need more yellow to make it from a fuel standpoint?
No, we're fine.
Well, all right. They seem to be confident down here. Let's see what happens.
Well, they can't see the whole racetrack, Bobby Hillin, and we can.
That's exactly what I was going to say. If this crew chief could see the monitor that we're looking at and see his driver sliding the car around the track, he'd see that he's definitely giving all he's got.
Looks like that somebody may have suffered some burns. Jan, is that the situation?
Yes, you saw that fuel spilling from the car, and this is the fueler, and he had his fuel.
Okay. Your eyes
what happened is that
obviously a little bit of problem with the microphone there, Jan. We'll go back to racing, but looks like the fueler is going to be okay, although maybe a little bit of burns or at least hot skin on the legs there. Oh, look at this. To say, once again, go into the chicane. The 12 car, Mark Bolt, got the worst end of that deal.
Well, he lost a few positions, but getting back to the fuel thing, let me tell you, that guy did not get burned, so to speak, for there was no fire involved. It's just that when that fuel gets on your pant leg and soaks right through, it just stings the skin really, really bad. I've had it happen to me, and, you know, I know the feeling. He's definitely needing some relief.
All right, we saw Ken Peterson. There is Mark Martin, who is in third position. There are 8 cars, by the way, on the lead lap. Mark Martin running behind Roger Havoc, who has lost a lap.
Yeah, Mark's got to deal with this lap traffic before he gets up to Lance Hooper, but I don't think that's going to be too much of a problem for Mark. And when he gets clear sailing, his fresh tires are going to come into play.
Oh, and the 4 car of Herschel McGriff Sr. has gone into the wall, it looks like.
Oh,
he was running in 6th position, Bobby, and that I don't think he's hurt very bad. Well, the car's damaged a little bit there in the left front, but hey, not enough for Herschel. He's going to drive right onto the pit area.
Well, I tell you what, I think that hurts his chances for winning the race, and I was really pulling for Herschel.
Yep.
Herschel is a super nice guy. He's like Harry Gant of the Winston Cup Series. Look at that.
Man, Hooper, I don't know whether the tires didn't hold or what. You think so?
I tell you, I just wish his crew chief could see that if this is him not giving it all he's got, I hate to see what it looks like when he is.
Gary Smith is into the pits in 77. He was running up in 4th position. That's a tough break for that young rookie who was doing so well. Obviously, this is he's got a flat left rear.
Well, this is a good time to change it because they just went under green, and he doesn't have that much of a chance of getting lapped. So if he can get back out there and catch another caution, he'll be okay. That's the one good thing about running a road course, say to Bristol, where we get around in 17 seconds.
Here is the battle for the lead. Ken Peterson is right on the back bumper of Lance Hooper as they go on to the backstretch. Both are sliding all over the racetrack. The question is, who's going to slide the least?
Well, I'd say Peterson's in a better position because he's got fresher tires, and the 07's going to have to get tires if he wants to race with these guys before the day's over with.
It sure seems like
times are slowly running out on him, so hopefully he'll catch a caution.
I saw him slide off that 9th corner there and lay down some rubber in the meantime, but Peterson did not take advantage of it. Lance Hooper holds on to the lead as once again they head for the chicane.
Lance playing a little bit of, holding his position, protecting his position, going into the corner a little bit lower than he needs to, just so he doesn't get, so that the 25 car doesn't outbreak him into that corner. And you're going to see more of that as the race winds down.
And there is 3rd place Mark Martin, who now has disposed of the car that was between him and 2nd place Peterson, and now has clear sailing. So Mark looks to catch up with this duo.
I tell you, Mark's right there. He's gone from all the way to the back. He's gone through the lap traffic. Now he's caught these guys. Look at Peterson's or Hooper sliding the car around.
Well, Herschel McGriff. Gary, Gerald, what's going on?
Well, Herschel McGriff just rolled back out of here, and the front end, was really battered. You probably got a very good look at it. Here's Herschel McGriff Jr., meanwhile, coming in, and he's getting service. Ted Olson has climbed out of his car. This is a very busy spot on pit road all of a sudden. I'm wondering if the NASCAR crew is going to allow Herschel to stay out on the track. There are a lot of different conversations going while we have pit work continuing on other cars. But Herschel is back on course, and there's some animated conversations down here.
Yeah, Gary, I would guess that NASCAR is going to bring him in. First of all, it looks like there's some fiberglass rubbing on the tire there in the left front.
Well, there is, and I just hope that it doesn't pull the whole nose off and, keep debris on the racetrack, because that could be a problem for some of these other guys coming up through there.
The 94 car of Ted Olson looks like it's going to go behind the wall. He had a great early race, but ran into some problems, including a problem there at the chicane, and so Olson has retired from the race. Back up front, it's Hooper and Peterson, and Mark Martin not too far behind.
Yeah, Mark's right in the picture. He's right where he wants to be. I think 6 and 25 are going to be battling for the lead in the long run. 07, he's doing all he can do. I tell you what, he's doing a great job hanging on to the lead right now.
Well, he really is, Bob, and he's really stayed up front more than I thought he would. I thought when we went green and he got a couple of laps on those tires and got them even hotter than they were, that he'd fall back, but he's staying in the lead. Maybe he knows more than we do.
Well, he might. Like I say, these guys are running by his tires, and he's been running them out here all year or out on the Southwest Tour, and so, he's doing a good job right now. We're just going to have to see what happens.
Once again, they come up. There's Herschel. Herschel will be headed for the pit area. They've already indicated that he must come back in, so he's going to bring the number 4 Spies Hecker machine in, and they'll get that bodywork torn off there, I would imagine. He did go into the pits once, and they didn't do anything about the damage on the front end of the car, and once again, Hooper has trouble going through the chicane, and Peterson almost rammed him then.
I tell you what, they're going to get in this lap traffic, and the racing is really good right now. These guys are putting on a great show, and it's a great race, and you know, Hooper's he's definitely hanging out, and he's doing a great job.
That was Monty English in car 28 that they just passed, and Mark Martin has got around him too. So once again, first, second, and third are right together on the racetrack. And look at Hooper sliding around the S's.
He gets a little wide there. These guys are definitely they're taking advantage of all this racetrack has to offer, and they're going to use it all up right now.
Gary Gerald is with a guy who performed so well in the early going. We may have a pass for the lead. Yes, we do. Peterson got him at the end of the backstretch. Ken Peterson has taken the lead from Lance Hooper.
That was a great job out breaking him in the corner. Just, you know, Mark saw that. I think Mark's going to have to step it up now and go get...
And he's coming in.
He's going to come get tires now.
Hooper finally decides to come to pit road to get some tires. So Peterson goes to the front, Mark Martin second, and now let's watch the pit stop by Lance Hooper. Well, we were right and the crew chief was wrong in this particular case. He should have gotten tires under that caution.
Well, we did have the advantage of seeing him slide the car around on TV, and you know, it's not like some of the Winston Cup crews, they have monitors in the pits. They can see what's going on, and these guys, you know, this is their first race on TV, and they don't have the money that the Winston Cup teams do, so they don't get all the advantages of what we know in the Winston Cup pits.
Let's get down to Gary Gerald.
Well, they rolled the dice, and it didn't come up what they had hoped, so now they're working on the right side of the car. Tires down off the jack, so they made the tire change quickly. Hooper now ready to go. 2-tire change and a touch of fuel, and he's gone.
Lance Hooper makes the pit stop and goes back out on the racetrack, but he relinquishes the lead. That was a 21-second pit stop for Lance. It's now Peterson in the lead, Mark Martin second, then Jeff Crow and Bill Lawrence in the Trendwest Resorts 100. We'll be right back. We're back at Portland. There is the number 4 car of Herschel McGriff Sr., who has sustained some body damage, but has it all corrected. There is Lance Hooper, who has made the pit stop now and come back in 6th position, but he has given the lead to Ken Peterson in car number 25.
Well, if Lance can catch a caution, you know, he's still not out of this thing. He's running strong enough he can get back in it. Boy, we've got some action right there.
That was the 84 of Rick Schultz making contact with the 1 car of Jeff Crow. No harm, no foul.
Looked like he was just going to use him for the brakes there and then going into that corner.
There is Peterson in 25 in 1st, and 2nd place, Mark Martin. Gary Gerald.
Well, further updating the Jeff Crow situation, car number 1, he ended up with a flat left front tire, had to visit the pits. They made the change. He's now back on the circuit, as is, you mentioned, Herschel McGriff, also back out there. Ted Olson out of the race. We were about to talk to him earlier when things broke out. We didn't get a chance to get a word with him, but he is now on the sidelines.
And there is the badly mangled front end on the 4 car of Herschel McGriff Sr.
Did Herschel lose a lap through all this? I don't know.
I believe he did, yes. Yes, he is a lap down.
Well, he wants to finish. I mean, I don't think he's going to get any points or going to make a whole lot of extra money by finishing, but I think, you know, 67 years old, he's going to finish every lap he can.
They're going to black flag the 84 car of Rick Schultz to come in and get some of that body work pulled off his car. There's the 5th place car of Jeff Crow, who has... Looks like, was he coming in or going out? I think he has completed. No, he's coming in for the stop.
Is he the car that got hit a while ago?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. He might need to fix that right rear quarter panel.
Gary?
Well, this time they're going to change both right side tires. It was a flat left front that he was in for just a lap previous. They changed that, but for whatever reason, don't know if he didn't like the way the car was working. He's back. We watched them work here on the right side. And once again, he's going back on the circuit.
Crow moving back out onto the racetrack. He'll stay on the lead lap, but loses a lot of track position. Here's the leader, Peterson in 25. Mark Martin has lost a little bit of ground, probably due to the traffic that the cars are maneuvering through. And I assume that these cars are okay as far as fuel is concerned.
I would think so, Bob. They pitted earlier, and, you know, 1 pit stop ought to be able to make them go all the way.
Oh, and Peterson maybe made a wrong move there, going to the inside off of corner number 9 to get around the 49 of Scott Hensrud. It didn't cost him, but boy, that was close. In fact, Mark Martin was able to close in a little bit, and now Mark right on the back bumper.
earlier when I was talking about Lance Hooper having all day long to get around the traffic, that's not the case for Ken Peterson. He's got to hump it. He's got to take advantage of every hole he can and to get around this traffic, because Mark is definitely on his tail.
Running in third position is Bill Lawrence, who has had a great race. He started back in 33rd position. Bill Lawrence is running third right now behind these two guys, Peterson and Martin, and there are less than 10 laps to go.
These guys are putting on a great race, and I tell you, if we could just get one more caution and put Lance Hooper right back in the mix, we'll really have an exciting finish to this race.
And you know what? A lot of people, if Mark Martin wins this race, they're going to say, oh, Mark Martin went out there in the Pacific Northwest and he showed everybody and blew everybody away. That has not been the case, because Peterson and Lance Hooper have both given him his run for his money. Right now, Martin is second. Peterson is the leader. There's Lawrence in third, Lance Hooper fourth, and Jeff Crow is in fifth position. We'll be right back. Now with about 5 laps to go, and the number 36 car has gone off course and into the tire barrier. That is Jody Tanner in car number 36, and that really, Bobby, is about the first incident of wall contact that we've seen. We've had a lot of cars off the track, but his got into the tire barrier. Looks like everything is okay, and Peterson continues to lead. Well, tonight the New Jersey Devils could wrap it up, but if they don't, if the Red Wings can beat the Devils tonight and there's a Game 5, you'll see it here on ESPN Monday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Boy, the Devils have been strong, haven't they, in the first 3 games? If they win tonight, it's all over, but if not, join us Monday at 8 o'clock.
I tell you what, when 36 went spinning into the grass and into the tires, I know he's got to be happy that those tires are there, because 3 rows of tires cushioned him from that wall, and that wall would have really hurt.
That's for sure. Mark Martin still is about a car length or 2 behind Ken Peterson as we near the... Oh, and another car has gone off there at corner number 9. Let's wait till the dust clears and see who that is. That is Martin Rossler in car number 81. He, too, has had contact with the tire barrier, and the, well, I don't know whether he did or not. He may have stopped short, but even if he did hit it, he is okay as he is waving to the safety workers as they come to the rescue. Here's Gary Gerald with a report from pit road.
Well, Roger Bracken, you've been watching very nervously now. It's about 2 or 3 car lengths, and you got that Winston Cup veteran Mark Martin behind your driver Ken Peterson. How confident are you, or how apprehensive are you?
Well, it depends on if they want to finish the race at 51 or 61. I think they want Mark Martin to win, so I don't know.
So you're questioning how many laps to go?
That's it. They keep upping the ante. Well, at the pit meeting, it was 51. Now it's 52, and I think they're going to come back and tell me it's 53 in a minute.
Well, we were told it's 52, if that means anything to you or not at this point.
They can't make up their mind, but hopefully this race will get over with and everybody do real good.
How are your nerves?
They're great, and I'm sure glad you guys are here. And thanks to NASCAR and all of our associate sponsors, and that's about all I can say.
All right, he's got his fingers crossed out here, Bob.
Well, Martin is still within about a car length, and boy, if Ken Peterson can hold him off, he would have something to put in his resume, wouldn't he?
I'll tell you, he really would. You know, if he goes on the Winston Cup, it won't be a big deal, but if he doesn't and he wins this race, he's going to be able to tell his grandchildren that he beat Mark Martin, and it'll really be a story.
I'm not so sure, though, that just about anybody... Ooh, Martin with a close call there with Frank Poole in 67. I think if there was anybody that I would not want in my rearview mirror at this point, it's Mark Martin, though.
It's really not. Mark is just so good on the road courses and really all the racetracks, but this guy's doing a great job. And I tell you, though, if I was Lance Hooper and I see these guys sliding off the track, I'd be calling on the radio saying, hey, we need a caution, we need a caution, because he wants to get back in this ball game.
Just look how quickly, though, Mark has pulled up to Ken Peterson after having a little bit of contact with that 67 car. But as Benny Parsons has said many, many times, catching somebody and passing him are 2 different things. And Peterson with the left side tires off the track as they go to the backstretch.
He had half the car off the track. He was really, really going through there. But, yeah, it's going to be a good finish. These guys are really going hard. And Mark's closed the gap. He's falling back. He's closed it. So I don't know if he's, you know, what his situation is, but I know he wants to win the race.
And he is really knocking on the door now. Let's see what happens as they go off of corner number 9, and Peterson slides the car sideways. They come on to the straightaway. Two laps to go. 2 laps to go. Mark Martin behind Ken Peterson. And this time Martin makes a move. Can he make it stick?
Oh boy, I tell you what, he had position for the one corner, and then a left-hander put him hang.
Oh, and he's off the track now as they head into turn 1.
If Ken Peterson does win this race and he shows the film to his grandchildren, well, they can definitely know that Mark Martin was giving it all he had, because he's hanging it out tonight.
Here's Gary once again.
Well, this man is Tom Craig, and he's the crew chief of the car that Mark Martin's driving. Tom, how are your nerves, and is your driver telling you anything at all?
Right now, Mark's not saying anything. He's just trying to do what he can do to try to catch the 25 car, you know. He's been running hard all day.
You got enough muscle you think you can do it?
Well, we got the horsepower. We're just a little bit off in the corners.
All right, less than 2 laps to go.
Well, I don't know. It's going to be nail-biting time here. They come through the 8th and 9th corners. Mark Martin over the rumble strips now tries to get position going into turn number 9. He may have it here. Let's see what happens as they come out of the corner. Nope. Peterson still holds him off, and they're going to get the white flag indicating 1 more lap to go.
If he can outbrake him just like he did the last corner and hold the position, he'll have him this time. He's going to try it on the outside this time.
It's the final lap. This is where he needs to be, unlike where he was. Oh, but look at this. He did it. He took the lead from Peterson in the chicane. Mark Martin has taken the lead on the final lap. Unbelievable.
I tell you, he really set him up. It looked like he was going to try it on the outside, and he had the guy go out a little wide, and he went right under him. Great move.
Wow. Mark Martin makes the pass where you're not supposed to be able to make the pass, and now he has the advantage over Ken Peterson, and there is less than a half a lap to go. Well, Peterson gave it all he could, but just could not hold off Mark Martin's advantage and his determination to take the lead.
Well, he might finish second in this race, Ken Peterson, but he's got nothing to be ashamed of. I tell you, he ran a super race, and to hold Mark off like he did all day long, that's something to be proud of, and he can build on that.
They're in the backstretch for the final time, now headed for turn number 7, number 8, and number 9. Peterson holds on to second position, but it's 1 position shy of where he wants to be. Here is Mark Martin moving the car off of corner number 9. He's looking at the checkered flag, and here it is. Mark Martin has won the Trendwest Resorts 100 for the REB-CO Northwest Tour event. Wow, that was a great race, and the celebration is breaking out on pit road. Mark Martin wins, Ken Peterson second. Unofficially, Bill Lawrence is in 3rd position. We'll be back to talk with the winner when we return to Portland. Mark Martin has done it. Well, that's a distant view of Mount Hood, which is just over turn number 9 here at Portland International Raceway. What a great setting this is for a track. Well, Herschel McGriff has made it home, Bobby. He's run into the wall and he's spun a few times, but he's still bringing her home in, let's see, on approximately 14th position, yeah. Well, this is how it happened, Bobby. As Ken Peterson came down, he and Mark Martin take the white flag, and you call it.
Well, if you see Peterson, he went way to the inside to protect that position, which is a normal thing to do. And Mark just waited and waited and waited, and he had the wrong line. Peterson had the wrong line going into the corner. Mark knew it, so when he got into the corner, he gave Mark right what Mark needed to do, go right under him and make the pass. And Mark kept his momentum up so he could make that second left-hander, and once he cleared him on the second left-hander, he was home.
Gary Gerald is in victory lane.
The cool, refreshing drink, a man who's known the emotion of victory lane so many times in a brilliant career, but I bet you this one's going to rank pretty darn high, because it's not often you win one on the last lap on a road course like that.
That was really awesome. I tell you, those guys were tough. I thought they had us beat, but we played it smart. I want to thank Valvoline, Cummins, and Ford and Goodyear for a great tire to race on here today, and especially the guys who built this car. An awesome car. We were a little off on our chassis and just kind of rode them hard all day. You know, we had to play a pit strategy that would maybe help us, because I couldn't beat them. If we did the same thing they did, we couldn't beat them. So I decided I felt like we should come and get 4 under the green. Then when everybody came in on a caution, I'd be leading, and they'd have to pass us. I still figured they'd pass us, but the cautions fell right, and the car ran super.
Take us back now. You get the white flag, and you're headed down there into those festival corner, the chicane. How you set them up that time? Looked like you were going one way, and then you dumped in the other.
Let me tell you something. It's hard leading on the last lap on a road course. You don't have anybody to judge off of. So what I did is I wait for him to brake, and then I went just a little bit further and figured I had nothing to lose. And he was having to guard the inside because he didn't want me to run up the inside. And I knew that was going to give him a bad line for the corner, so I waited for him to brake. Then I braked a little later on the outside, and, you know, he wasn't lined up for the corner right, and he just slipped out, and I dove in there.
I guess this is what the emotion of racing is all about right here, what you've experienced in the last 5 minutes.
I love to win. This is a great car, great team, bunch of guys working on it.
Congratulations, Mark.
Thank you.
Bob?
Yeah, well, it was just exactly the way you explained it, Bobby, how he got that position and made the pass there in the chicane on the last lap.
Well, that's right, you know, and Mark definitely, he doesn't like to lead on last lap. He showed us that at Sears Point this year, and he's taking a little revenge from that. So, you know, he definitely, I tell you, honestly, he looks happier than if he'd won a Winston Cup race.
You're right. Well, he has definitely run into some good competition out here. These guys that some of whom had never performed on a road course before did a very good job. And first of all, it was Lance Hooper that he had to contend with, and then it was Ken Peterson. Let's go back to Gary, who's with third place, Bill Lawrence.
Well,
nope,
we've got Roger Habich down here, as a matter of fact, Bob. He ends up in the number 4 spot, according to our calculations. Tell us about your day out here and a chance to arm wrestle with Winston Cup drivers like Mark Martin and Dale Jarrett.
Well, I'll tell you, we had a good race car today, and the crew made a good decision not to stop for tires. We just stopped for splash and go. That gave us great track position. And, you know, we couldn't have done it without Junkie Yoshida sauces, Texaco pack services, and all the guys that help out on the crew. It's just amazing how these guys work.
Roger, how many opportunities have you had to run on road courses before?
Actually, I ran at a school when I was 18 years old for, I'd never raced before that, and I ran at Laguna Seca at the Jim Russell School. In fact, Jan Beekus was one of my instructors. So.
Well, congratulations. And speaking of Jan, he's standing by further down pit road. Jan?
Yes, and unfortunately, we have a sad story here. Lance Hooper has heat exhaustion at the moment. They have him on oxygen. He should be okay, but they're getting some air on him. They're keeping him in the shade. He's taking some oxygen. The reason that they dropped so far back, we checked with the crew, is that it didn't pick up all the fuel, as you saw, but then they were not able to make up that distance because they had transmission problems. And probably Bobby can tell us, when you have transmissions problems, when it's this hot today, that obviously takes its toll, and it's taken here for Lance Hooper.
Well, we're hoping that Lance is going to be okay. He did run a very, very competitive race, and we will be back to take a look at the final standings in this Trendwest Resorts 100 from Portland. ESPN Speed World coverage of the REB-CO Northwest Tour event from Portland International Raceway has been brought to you by Smooth Busch Beer and Easy Drinking Busch Light. Busch, the official beer of NASCAR. By Texaco Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more car to your life to your car, take it to the star. And by MasterCard. MasterCard, it's more than a credit card. It's smart money. And back down to Gary Gerald.
Well, the guy who's so disappointed and came so close is Ken Peterson. And, Ken, you put on a heck of a show. Let's hear what happened from your seat when you're trying to hold off this babbling car and Mr. Martin right behind you.
I've been here. One thing I have to say, I got to thank my sponsors, Redline Oil and Steve Hare, TNS Racing, and Roger Bracken for giving me a great car. And what had happened was it stuck in gear early in the race, so I had to use my car pretty hard, and this track only allows you to pass really under braking. Sears Point's a little bit easier and a couple more spots, so what had happened the last couple laps, I saw Mark coming, and I was just pumping the pedal all the way down the straightaway, and it just wasn't quite enough, and he just got me. He knew how to hang on to his car and save it. I didn't really have that option coming from the back.
What would it have felt like, and what were you allowing yourself to even think about what the emotion might be like if you could beat a Winston Cup veteran like Mark Martin?
It's great. I really feel honored. I got the chance to drive at Sears Point in a Winston Cup car, and it's really neat just being around those guys. I look up to them all the time. You know, I watch the race on TV, and to actually drive with them, especially Mark Martin and a few of the others that are, you know, that come down and race the step down series below that, and then treat us like human beings is really important to me, and it makes me feel, all of us feel good.
Well, we appreciate your candidness in this situation. I know it's disappointing, but still, there's a lot to be bragging about here. A second-place finish to one of the all-time greats.
Yeah, it really is, and I've gotten a couple seconds before, so first would have been great.
Thanks, Ken. Let's go to Jan.
Well, speaking of bragging, look at the front of this car. Herschel McGriff, you didn't know when to quit. What happened, first of all, that caused all this damage?
Well, when I was up in third, you know, I passed the car on the inside and got into turn one too hard and just went in the grass. I didn't do any damage, but put me back to sixth. Then on that restart later in the race, you know, it was a bunch of cars. I was trying to go on the outside. A guy spun, hit me, and in the grass and in a wall. So had to come in.
Now tell me, with this kind of damage, but yet you wanted to keep driving out there, you lost a lot of time. This thing is just wiped out.
Well, it may look like that, but the chassis was okay. I had good brakes, and the motor run great all day. And the only thing it did, it got oil on the windshield the last 4 or 5 laps. I couldn't see much. But actually, if I hadn't known this, it was going good. We were making good time, so I was happy, although I wanted to really finish this race up in front, be up there with them young guys.
There's no question you wanted to finish this race. Now, you said about the oil on the windshield. You actually hit something coming into pit lane. Is that what you said?
Well, no, the oil was caused by just the valve covers here running without a hood for the last 20 laps. And then, of course, I couldn't see. I was coming up pit lane 15 mile an hour and running into a guy that stopped. That was a little embarrassing. But that didn't hurt anything.
Okay, thank you. Obviously a guy who wanted to bring it home today. Let's go back to Gary Gerald.
Well, Gary Smith is here. You already got the shoes off and the suits pulled down, and you've had a long workout today. It must have been mighty hot inside there.
It sure was hot. The oil temperature came up right early, and my feet definitely got really hot. It was a good time out there. I had fun out there on the road course. Too bad we got that flat tire. We got a pretty good car, so I'm just happy we finished. And hopefully we gained some points. We're second in points to Ron Eaton, so hopefully we gained a few tonight, and we'll carry on next week.
Now, I understand it. Now, I know your dad, Roy, from years gone by, was a many-time Winston West champion. You're a rookie in this series this year, and you've been doing a terrific job. But now you get a chance to come here and test your skills on the road circuit. What's that been like?
It's been quite fun. I've driven go-karts for years. I started racing when I was 3.5 years old, so I knew the road course. Just getting used to the heavy car and downshifting in the brakes. Really got to be gentle on the brakes here, boy. It was a lot of fun. Oh, I enjoyed it.
Well, you had that hood buckle there for a while, and there was concern about whether they black flag you'd have to come in, but the pins held, and did it handle any differently after that?
Not really. We went off the track there once, but no, the hood was fine. It was just buckled up a little bit. Everybody stopped in the chicane one time and just nudged a guy, and no big deal. We kept going. It didn't bother me one bit.
File that one in the experience bank and look forward to the next one.
Thank you.
All right, Gary Smith finishes in 7th place. Jan?
Herschel McGriff Jr. now joins us. We talked to your dad. Your car doesn't look that great either. You had some contact out there.
Well, it's a little bit of chicane work there, I think. You know, every once in a while, everybody go 2 or 3 deep in there, and it was all right. We just had some problems here after the pit stop. We had a problem in the left front hub and trying to play catch-up there, and it knocked us out for the race.
And tell us about racing here at Portland. Obviously, you're in close quarters, but racing on a road course, obviously that's not something you do but once a year. Is it a fun thing for you to do?
I have a lot of fun at it. My business is building these cars, JR Industries, and I help take care of a lot of Trans Am people out here. And in 1998, that's the last time I ran here in the Rose Cup. But it's a lot of fun, and I think I hope they would bring the tour back here more than every once in a while. Every couple times a year. It would really be great. But we have a lot of fun out here, and I think it made a believer out of a few of them here.
Well, for a guy who builds these cars, maybe that'll pay off for you as far as spare parts after this one.
Well, another thing, this is a Friday Night Late model car that we converted over into a tour car. This is a stock spring car. It doesn't even have coilovers, and we feel good. We're 100 pounds heavier than all these guys, and so we feel pretty good about how we were running.
Thanks, Herschel.
Thank you.
Herschel McGriff Jr. as Mark Martin continues to receive the congratulations of everyone here on his victory in this 100-mile NASCAR Northwest Tour event race. We'll be back with final standings right after this. Well, the headliners here at Portland, the IndyCar drivers. They are set for competition on this 1.9-mile road course tomorrow. There's been some bumping and banging going on in the IndyCar series this year, and a lot of different winners. Can Jacques Villeneuve win his third race of the year from the pole tomorrow? We'll see at 4 o'clock Eastern Time in the Budweiser G.I. Joe's 200 here at Portland International Raceway.
I think this is the first non-street circuit that these guys have raced on this year, so they're going to really open it up. They don't have concrete barriers right on the racetrack they have to worry about.
Yep. Well, here are the final results in the Trendwest Resorts 100. Martin was the winner, but boy, I tell you, when you really come down to it, he didn't dominate this race and made the pass on the last lap over Ken Peterson to take the win. Bruce Volstead finishes in 8th position. There is Lee Daly in 10th. There were, by the way, I believe 4 cars on the lead lap. Now let's go down to Gary Gerald.
Well, earlier, about 2/3 of the way through the race, we were going to talk to Ted Olson, and then all kinds of crazy things happened. Ted, what ended up putting you out today?
Well, early in the race, I ended up collecting some grass on my front grill and ran around for a couple laps at about 300 degrees, and I think we ended up losing a couple cylinders.
Well, we appreciate a chance to finally get a word with you. Hope you have better fortune here in the future.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Jan?
Just a quick update on Lance Hooper. We said that he had heat exhaustion. The good news is he's feeling better all the time. He should be fine. Guys?
Good. Good to see Lance is okay. Ron Eaton, by the way, maintains the points lead in the Northwest Tour Series by 66 over Gary Smith. Bobby, good to have you on the broadcast. We enjoyed it.
I really enjoyed it, Bob, and hopefully we can do some more of these, but on the East Coast. This is a long trip out here, but I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun.
That's Bobby Hillen for Gary Gerald and John Beekus. I'm Bob Jenkins. Thanks for joining us here at Portland, where Mark Martin has driven to victory. We'll see you soon. For now, so long, everyone.